إن الله ربي وربكم فاعبدوه هذا صراط مستقيم.
Respected viewers, welcome to Truth Unveiled with me, Mwanika Said, your host. Our topic of discussion today is resurrection, and more of the emphasis is going to be laid upon the resurrection of the holy personage of Jesus Christ, alayhi salatu wasalam. For it is one of the fundamental tenets of belief to the Christian world. My guest today in the studios is Mr. Ahmad Kaile, a missionary working with Ahmadiyya Muslim Association, Uganda.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Welcome to Truth Unveiled.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Ahmad Kaile, as a religious scholar, I'm certainly aware that in your lifetime you have ever read the whole Bible.
Yes, sir.
Were you fortunate enough to come across the concept of Jesus' resurrection?
Exactly.
Well, from what you read, what is resurrection?
Resurrection is when a person dies and come back to life. But in Christianity, resurrection is specifically stressed on Jesus Christ's resurrection, which means that Jesus Christ died and was among the dead for 3 days and 3 nights. And on the 3rd day, he resurrected and he was among the living again. So, that is the resurrection of Jesus Christ as far as Christian are concerned.
So, do you stand in conformity with that notion?
No.
Why?
You know, resurrection is directly connected with death. If death does not take place, then resurrection is nowhere. There are changes which takes place after somebody dying. If somebody dies, we expect certain changes to take place.
You are speaking of changes that take place after one's demise,
Yes, sir.
not being evident upon Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
Can we hear those changes?
You know, there are many changes indeed. But right now, I will not exhaust all the changes. Rather, I will only quote one change and talk about one. In Ecclesiastes, that is chapter 12, verse 7, it is clearly recorded over there that then the dust shall return to the dust, and the spirit shall return to God who gave it. Meaning that after death, the person's body deteriorates to the dust, and his spirit returns to God. Now, when we apply this teaching to Jesus Christ and his disciples, we are surprised of the facts which we find over there. Take for example, in John, that is chapter 5, from verse 28 to 30, something amazing is there. Jesus Christ, when he approached his disciples, they were terrified, they were surprised, because according to the so-called eyewitness, they had confirmed that Jesus Christ had died. But to their surprise, Jesus Christ was before them. But Jesus Christ understood their problem. And he said, that is in that chapter, John, from verse, that's chapter, John chapter 5, verse from 28 to 30. So he was surprised. Now, it is explained more in Luke, that is chapter 24, from verse 38 to 41. It is clearly explained there. Now, Jesus told them, why are you troubled? Why are thoughts rising from your hearts? It is I myself. Behold my hand and my feet. For the spirit have no flesh and bones, that ye see me having. In this explanation, he clearly told them that if I had died, you wouldn't have seen me. But since you are seeing me, myself, living, it means I didn't die.
I'm still alive.
I'm still alive. Now, in this case, in this way, in this situation, he told them, he taught them, he took away the confusion in their mind that maybe he had died.
Our dear viewers, the program you are watching is Truth Unveiled, and the topic of discussion today is resurrection. For questions or comments, thoughts or observations, email us on africa@mta.tv. Now, coming back to Sheikh Ahmed.
Yes, sir.
Well, there is again something that I want us to cast a glance upon. The whole personage of Jesus Christ, ﷺ, had two entities according to the Christian teaching. Part of him was human, and another part of him was divine. Now, don't you think that when the Christian world speaks of the resurrection of the holy personage of Jesus Christ, it is drawing our attention to that divine part in him that did resurrect?
So you want to mean that Jesus was a human being as well as a God, or he was divine?
He was divine.
Maybe he had two entities,
Definitely.
a human part of it.
According to the Christian teaching.
Okay. This is a very good question indeed. But surprisingly, this problem was faced by Jesus Christ himself during his life. For example, in John, that is chapter 10, from verse 30 to 32, 32 is enough, or 36, you can go even further to 36. Jesus made a statement. He said, I and my Father are one. That is from chapter 30, from verse 30. I and my Father are one. Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. It means the Jews were confused of this statement. They were troubled. Jesus answered them, many good works have I showed you from my Father. For which of those works do ye stone me? The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy. So the Jews took this as a blasphemy. And because that thou being a man makest thyself a God. Now, what was the answer of Jesus Christ in this scenario, in this state? Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law, I said, ye are gods? If he called them gods, unto whom the word of God comes, and the scripture cannot be broken. Now, Jesus Christ clearly explained that somebody may be called God, son of God, daughter of God, whatever you may call him or her, because he received the word of God. According to his own explanation, there is no a person who can claim godhood. But if somebody is called a God or a son of God, it means
He's a recipient of divine revelation.
Of a divine revelation. It means Jesus was a human being who had a title who had a privilege of receiving a divine revelation. So it means these are titles. Take for example, if we have a man here who is a lawyer, a teacher, a husband, a father, and a son somewhere. If such a man dies, can we say that a husband died and a lawyer is still living?
No.
We can't say so. What do we say? We shall say that a man who was a lawyer, who was a doctor, who was a father, who was a son somewhere, died. It means Jesus was a person who died, but he was a human being as well as a recipient of divine revelation. So it does not mean that he was a human being in him and at the same time he was a God. No, this is a thing which is refuted by Jesus Christ himself.
Well, Mr. Ahmad, in your earlier explanation, you did put it clearly that the hour of resurrection has not yet come to pass.
Exactly.
But when we read the whole Bible, it is recorded that at the event of Jesus' resurrection, many people did rise from the dead. If the resurrection hour has not yet come to pass, how do you explain that teaching in the whole Bible?
In fact, it is better for us to exactly quote that verse in the Bible. In Matthew, that is chapter 27, from verse 52 to 53, it is recorded. And the graves were opened, and bodies of saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city and appeared to many. I request you, my brother, and our viewers, to clearly scrutinize this verse. You will see that they were the bodies of saints only. And I said previously that during the hour which was taught by Jesus Christ, the bodies of wicked people as well as the righteous people will come from the graves, will rise from the dead. It means this is not the hour. This is something else. Because the saying of that hour is that all those who did good will be resurrected for the resurrection of life. And all those who did evil will be resurrected for the resurrection of damnation. It was not recorded anywhere that all the people resurrected. So it means this is something quite different.
Not that hour.
Not that hour.
Well, I like your arguments that you are putting on board to refute this concept of Jesus' resurrection. But for the benefit of our viewers, one may ask, can anybody understand your body better than you do?
I don't think so.
If not so, then what makes you think you understand Christianity better than the Christians do?
In fact, it's a very good question. The truth is, nobody can understand my body better than I do. And I think if a doctor wants to prescribe certain medicine, he needs to pose certain questions to me, that if I answer those questions, he will depend on those questions to prescribe certain medicine for me. But you know, a person's character is known in happiness as well as in sorrow. Jesus Christ, when he was in happiness, he used to say, "Peace be unto you." This is a discipline which is observed by Muslims. It is an order, a command to Muslims, that when you find your brothers send greetings of peace to them. Salute them with the greeting of peace. It means, in this regard, we Muslims and Jesus Christ, we are together. In sorrow, when Jesus Christ was about to be arrested, he went with his disciples in the Garden of Gethsemane at dawn.
At the time of dawn?
At time of dawn. And he bowed down. In fact, he prostrated, put his head down, and requested for help from God. This is also a practice of Muslims, that at that time, they are commanded to wake up and pray, seek forgiveness, ask for help from God. So I think we are more closer to Jesus Christ than the Christians.
Well, the concept of Jesus' resurrection is widely recorded in the whole Bible. If we further open the whole Bible, again we see that the issue of resurrection is big. Jesus Christ himself is said to have restored life to a man called Lazarus. And it is said that he did say that I am the life and I am the resurrection. If resurrection is not real, the way you are telling us, why did Jesus Christ, peace be on him, mention these words?
Thank you, sir. As far as this question is concerned, I also need to go back to that exact verse, and we'll read it together, me and you, plus our viewers. In John, that is chapter 11, verse from 25 to 26, I think it's from 25 to 26. Jesus Christ said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life, and that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? Now, our Christian brothers are cunning in their ways. When they are quoting that incident, they quote the first verse. They don't quote the second one, because the second one clearly reveals what was the wisdom behind this. Because it says that whoever believe in me, whoever live and believe in me shall never die. Ask yourself, don't the Christian die?
They do.
They die. Are the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ still living?
Oh, no.
Can we move to the graves of Christians and find them there just sleeping, not dead? The truth is, this was a spiritual resurrection. It was not a literal resurrection as it is portrayed by the Christians. Because if they said that really it was a literal resurrection, then the onus is on their shoulders to produce evidence that Christians are living from the time of Jesus Christ to today, which they will never be in position to do.
Well, Mr. Ahmad Kaile, you are reminding me of one personality in history called St. Paul. During his time of imprisonment in the bondage of hatred and enmity towards Jesus Christ, every argument of his was not in conformity with the whole personage of Jesus Christ. Not until Jesus Christ himself appeared to him and saved him physically from the doom. My question to you is, if tomorrow Jesus appears to you and testifies to you that I did resurrect, what would be your stand?
It's a good question indeed. You know, Jesus Christ was in this world. History records something about him. And he went further. He gave the world his teaching. His teachings are clearly recorded in the world. Though people may believe in part of it and others may refuse, but his teachings are in the world. Now, if tomorrow Jesus Christ appears to me, as you have said, and testifies, as you have said, that he was the
Resurrected.
way he was resurrected, I will see his message. If his message contradicts with his own teaching, then I will not accept that. If his message is in line with his own teachings, which are written in the scriptures, maybe I may say that it is a divine vision. But if it contradicts, I will only say that it is a satanic vision. You have mentioned of a person, St. Paul, and I think I will give an example on this man. It is clearly recorded in Matthew, that is chapter 5, from verse 17 to 19. There, Jesus clearly said that he did not come to abrogate the law and the teachings of the prophets. He went even further and said that no dot or jot will be changed. It means he came to fulfill. In fact, he said he came to fulfill the teachings of the law and the past prophets. But surprisingly enough, in Galatians, that is chapter 3, verse 13, St. Paul said that the law is a curse. Now, can you accept that law that Paul was promoting Jesus Christ's teachings? Jesus Christ said, I came to fulfill the law. And St. Paul said that the law is a curse, meaning people must abandon it. Now, in conclusion, what I will say, that St. Paul was possessed by a lying spirit. He was a liar.
So, in summary, all your arguments are proving that the concept of Jesus' resurrection as presented by the Christian society is a hoax.
Exactly, exactly.
If so, what then is the Islamic teaching with regards to resurrection?
Before I move to the Islamic teaching, I want our viewers to note a certain point in James, that is chapter 2, verse 26. In James chapter 2, verse 26, it is recorded over there that just as the body is dead without the spirit, faith is dead without work. Meaning that if the body is dead, we are imagining, and the spirit come back to this body, it means somebody has resurrected. Just as you think of such a scenario, in the same way, if you bring faith and incorporate it with good works, meaning you do what you believe, you do what you preach, it means your faith has gone under a resurrection. So this is a kind of resurrection which was taught by Jesus Christ. That's why I noted before that it was a spiritual resurrection.
As you summarize, 2 minutes.
When I come back to Islam, in Islam, one of the articles of faith is that a Muslim must believe in the day of judgment. And on the day of judgment, there will be resurrection. And resurrection in a way that all those who were righteous will be rewarded paradise. And all those who were wicked, who were disbelievers, will be punished, and they will be forced to enter hell. The promised Messiah, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad alayhi salatu wassalam, the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, explained a point on the resurrection of Jesus Christ in his book, Jesus in India. On the point of the resurrection of the saints, you quoted an instant where I managed to bring a verse. Now, the promised Messiah went further and explained at great length, though I can't do these few minutes, but I'll only quote out certain points.
In 1 minute.
Who were they? You know, it is very easy to invent a lie, but to support that lie. Now, who are these people? Who resurrected? These saints? Moses, Joshua, David, who are they? It should be remembered that the Jews were confused and they had troubles with Jesus Christ because of these scriptures and these writings. Now, if these prophets came back, they would have acted as judges. People would have asked them that around here we have a man called Jesus Christ. Is he a son of God? They would have acted as lawyers. He went further to say that this was a language of dream. In a dream, when you see saints resurrecting from the dead, it means a certain righteous person will be released from the bondage of his enemies.
Okay.
And that's what happened with Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed Kaile. Indeed, it has been a honor and a pleasure to hear from you. Our dear viewers, today's program has come to the end. The program you've been watching is Truth Unveiled. The topic of discussion was resurrection. In summary, we did say that given the biblical evidences and the use of scientific approach in this matter, all combined will lead you to a conclusion that Jesus did not resurrect. For questions or comments, thoughts or observations, email us on africa@mta.tv. Thank you for tuning in. Have a blessed day.
إن الله ربي وربكم فاعبدوه هذا صراط مستقيم